Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to paint a simple night sky in Photoshop. This will be a short and easy real-time painting where you can paint right along with me while receiving narrated instruction. If this is your first time watching one of my Photoshop tutorials, please at this time pause the video and click the link in the description below to watch my tutorial setup guide. This will show you my brush settings, common shortcut keys I use, and other important things to know that might not be explained in every video. Also, before continuing, click the link to download the reference for this painting. For my step-by-step Photoshop tutorials, I will usually repaint a piece of art that I have already designed to help keep the tutorial concise and efficient. There is a chance I will speak of different things in the reference off screen, so having your own copy to look at will be helpful. Now, without further delay, let's begin. Alright, so to start off, I'm going to open up an 8 by 4.5 inch canvas. And the brush I'm using is just a simple round brush. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. So I'm going to do this by hitting the right bracket key. I'm going to go over to my hue wheel here and just pick a nice blue hue. Then I'm going to move my slider down towards the black corner, so it's in between the bright blue and the black corner of this triangle. Then I'm going to move my opacity up to 100%. And you can do this by just hitting the 0 on your keyboard. This will just help you paint in this nice blue color really quickly, just over your entire canvas. Okay, after you got that all covered, just make a new layer by hitting this little plus box in the right corner, and we're going to move our hue all the way down to black. We're going to make our brush just a little bit smaller. And we're also going to make it more hard. So you just hit Shift and then the right bracket key. And we're just going to paint in a little black hill in front of this blue sky. Alright, so after that, we're going to make a new layer, but we're actually going to put it behind this black hill. So to do that, just hit your background layer and then do a new layer over that. And that will put the layer behind this black hill. And we're just going to go up to, let's color pick this color real quick. Just so we go back to our original color of the sky. And we're just going to make it brighter. And we're going to turn down our opacity to 30%. So you can just do that by pressing the 3 on your keyboard. And then we're going to make our brush really soft, so the softest it can get. So just do that by doing the Shift and then the left bracket. And we're going to paint in this bright blue, this brighter blue. It's going to be brighter than the color we had. We're going to paint it kind of near this hill, closer to the hill. Just paint it in really softly. And after you got that down, we can go to our hue color again. Let's move it just slightly more cyan. And then move the brightness all the way to the tip of this triangle. And that will be just full brightness. And we're going to just paint in some more brighter color right along this hill. Just with this big, round, soft brush. After that, you can add, let's add some more cyan. So just in your hue wheel, just move this up towards this cyan blue, not all the way up though yet. And just keep your brightness at full, right at this tip of this triangle. So it should be 100% brightness. We're just going to paint in just a little bit more. Maybe a little bit more cyan, you can't really tell if that's doing anything, so we'll put a tiny bit more cyan in it. Let's paint right along this hill. I think I put a little bit too much cyan here, so I'm just going to color pick this blue right here and just paint over it just a tiny bit to, you don't want too much because we kind of want this to be a dark sky, not a fully lit night sky. Let's color pick this blue and just tone down. Let's go to 10% opacity. So just hit the 1 on your keyboard. And 10% opacity just helps you get a really, really soft blend of these colors. I'm going to color pick this brighter color and just kind of blend it in there. Because you don't want it to be blended the same all the way across, so it's good to kind of go back and forth and just get a good blend. All right, let's make a new layer. And this is just so we can save our progress because, in case we have to erase anything that we put down that we don't like. And we're going to add some black to this sky because we want it to be really dark. So just move your slider all the way, well, maybe we shouldn't go all the way black yet. Let's color pick this dark blue color and then just move it down slightly to more of a black color, just so it's not pure black yet. And we're just going to paint in, let's go to 30% opacity. So just hit the 3 on your keyboard. We're just going to paint it up along the top of this sky here. Let's go to 10% opacity. Just hit the 1 on your keyboard. That will fade it out softer at the bottom here. All right, let's make a new layer just to save that progress there. And let's go to full black. So let's just move our slider all the way down to this bottom corner of this triangle. We're going to paint up in this corner here. So the farther we get away from our black hill here, the darker the colors are going to be. Let's just paint in this nice black color. Let's just blend this blue up just a tiny bit more. So just color pick it. Let's go to 10% opacity. Just hit the 1 on your keyboard. Just blend it up a tiny bit. All right. Let's make a new layer. So right now we kind of have this rainbow kind of shape of the hues going darker and darker. And maybe we want to have a little bit of variation in the sky. So we're on a new layer just in case you mess it up and you just want to erase it. Let's just paint with black at 10% opacity so we can Really just do it in softly at first. And we're just going to kind of go in to this lighter blue space and just tap in some black variation in here. If you're painting on a new layer, you can also, if you add too much black, you can just use your eraser, you know, to paint back in some blue at the end. So make sure you're on a new layer here. So I'm going to go to my eraser tool. Make sure it's soft as well and at 10% opacity, and I'm going to just erase some of that black that I put in. Just make some interesting little wispy blue shapes. It's going to look the best if there's variation in the spacement of them and like the shape. So just try to be a little bit sporadic. I'm going to color pick this dark color. Just kind of go back and forth until I get a shape I like. These wispy blue shapes in the sky. I think I have a little bit too much of this bright cyan color here, so I'm just going to pick this blue color and paint into this cyan color. I think I've color picked the wrong thing here. Let's make sure it's at full brightness here. You don't ever want to paint black into this cyan color because it will make it kind of like a gray cyan, which won't look pretty. So you only want to paint black over blue, not cyan. So if you're ever painting in the cyan region, make sure it's a bright blue color. You know, once you make it a bright blue, then you can come back and add black into it. And sometimes it takes a little bit of time to kind of get the shape you want. It doesn't always work out the first, the first time you try it out. So you just kind of go back and forth. It doesn't really have to be a particular design, so you don't have to copy exactly what I'm doing. It just has to be interesting. So just keep color picking different colors you want more of, and then just painting in those colors. It's a really helpful tool for just adjusting your shapes and colors that you already have down. You can just color pick whatever you want to add more of. Just kind of make some interesting shapes here. When I'm painting, I just try to figure out how to add, well, just how to make these wisps different from each other. Because if they all have the same shape and they're all evenly spaced apart, it's going to look kind of weird. It's not going to look natural, so that's just what I'm kind of thinking about right now. So at this time, I think we should add some grass to this hill. It's just going to add just a little bit more interest. So we're going to go to our hill layer, which is layer 1. That's the first layer we created. We're going to make our brush smaller and make it hard as well. So as hard as it can be. So just push that right bracket, shift and right bracket, all the way until it's a nice hard brush. And we're going to paint some grass over in this right corner here. So you can just start out by just making some quick strokes here. And if you want your grass to be a little bit thinner at the top, just press a little bit more lightly when you're letting off your brush. And since we're on this hill layer, we can actually use our eraser tool. So you can just go to your eraser tool, make sure that's hard as well, and at 100% opacity for your eraser. And you can just kind of negative paint here for parts of your grass that you want to alter a little bit. Make it a little bit more unique or different from what you had, and just paint in just a little clump here. I don't think we're going to paint grass across the whole hill because it's good to have variety, you know, have smooth areas of the hill and then have a big tall clump. I think that will look better in the long run. So you can, though, you can always try it out and just see how it looks. You can erase parts of your hill if you want to make it like a different shape, you know. Doesn't really matter too much. It's just whatever you want to do. I kind of liked my flat hill there, so I'm just going to keep that. And if you ever paint in something you don't like, you can always undo it, and you can just do that by hitting Control Z, and that will just kind of go back on your actions. All right, so now we're going to add some stars. So we're going to do a new layer, and it's going to be behind this dark hill layer, but it's going to be above everything else. So just right below the dark hill layer. We're just going to move all the way up to white. So just the right at the top corner of your triangle. We're going to have our opacity at 100%, and we're going to have our brush as hard as it can get. And I think it might be easier also if we turn off our pen pressure here. So just this little icon here, just click that off, and that will make it so whatever size you see on your brush tip here, that's how big your star is going to be. And it doesn't matter how hard you push. That'll just make it easier to make the right size of stars that you want. So we're going to start off by making our biggest stars in the blue areas here, because bigger stars will light up the sky more. So I think we want one big star in our picture, and that's just going to be like a second subject in our painting, because we have this grass clump, and then we're going to have maybe a bright big star over in this area. So there's two interesting things going on in this painting. So let's make our biggest star somewhere in this area, but in over top of the blue color. We'll make a really big star. And let's make a smaller star maybe in this area. Maybe make two of those stars. Then we're going to make even smaller stars in different areas. You don't want to put too many stars, so that's probably good enough for our big main stars. We're going to make even smaller stars here. So you just want a good variety of the size of your stars, and you don't want to put too many of them. So at this point, I'll probably do even smaller. And you want some stars to be really close together and, you know, like different patterns in the stars. Always looks better than having them equally spread apart. So you might have a whole section of sky where there's no stars at all. And that will look a lot better. So just different sizes and different spacing. And to not overdo it. Well, that's probably enough stars. So we're going to do a new layer, but it's going to be underneath this star layer. So we'll just click layer 5, which is the layer below the star layer, and then do a new layer. And we're going to add some bright blue glows to these stars. So we can start off by just color picking this blue color that's already over our bigger stars. Just color pick this blue color, and we're just going to add it over the stars that are in the black areas. And we're going to make sure our brush is soft, because glows have a really soft, kind of misty look to them. We're going to turn our pen pressure back on as well. We're just going to paint right behind these stars. Let's go to 30% opacity so you can just gradually kind of build up to it. Let's do a few kind of taps behind these stars till you get the brightness you want. To show that something's like bright, it's really effective to add this kind of glow effect to it, because bright things are going to light up the things around it. So if there's this misty air in the sky, if there's a star near it, it's going to light up that air. We're just going to tap in some blue, bright air just right around the stars here. All right. And we're going to add more cyan color. So just move your slider to the more cyan blue and make it full brightness here. We're going to tap in some bright blue glows around these stars. Just a brighter glow. Because we already have the dark blue around it, and now we're going to a lighter color. That's going to make the stars even glow brighter. And you don't have to tap it onto every star if you don't want, because some it might not make a huge difference, or it might not be as bright of a star. But just tap in whatever, and it can be different sizes. Like this glow here, even though it's a smaller star, it has a bigger glow, or the same size of glow as this big star. Like, it doesn't have to correlate necessarily with the size of the star, because that will just add more variation to your stars, or like the thickness of the air around your stars, you know. Let's add just a tiny bit more. Okay, I'm just going to do a new layer here, and we're going to add white, like a soft white, to parts of these stars, because we painted in the stars with a hard brush, but there's going to be some soft edges as well in the star. So just with pure white, we're just going to go over some of our stars and kind of make a white glow right in the center, just to kind of soften them up a bit. You don't have to do it equally on all sides. Like, it often looks good to like maybe soften the left side of the star more than the right side. You know, so there's just variation in the softness around the star. It's always good to add just a little bit of variation. Okay, after you got that done, we can add some white right along this hill. This hill's like pure black, so adding white to it will just make it pop. The value change just makes it stand out a little bit more. Putting light colors against dark colors in a painting is always a good practice to, if you want your attention to kind of be drawn to it, or you want to make sure the viewer can see your subject easier. To add those contrasting colors is going to be really good. So after you got that pure white in there, just move to a pure cyan color and all the way to the tip. So it's just pure cyan, no white, no black. And we're going to do 10% opacity. This will just allow us to do it very softly in there until we get what we want. Let's just do it on a new layer, just so we can erase it if we don't like it. And make sure your brush is soft. And we're going to paint in this cyan color right along this transition part. Just add a bit of color variation to the sky. Cyan is a brighter hue than blue, so it's a really good transition color to fade blue into white. Very natural transition. We can even add a little bit of cyan to our stars a little bit. This pure kind of greenish cyan. Just tap in a little bit of that cyan color. Just kind of fade it in until it kind of looks right. Let's go back to white, because I did the cyan layer and the white on the same layer. So I did kind of get rid of some of the white that I might want back. So I'm just going to go back with a little bit more white. Color in this right along the hill. So to fade out colors, you can just make your brush bigger and kind of just flare it out with like 10% opacity, and it just kind of flares out the color, gives a little bit of variation in how you're blending the colors. Just kind of try to get some good variation in there. I'm going to add a little bit more cyan over in this corner here. Okay, and I think we're finished. This painting is now very similar to the reference, which is what I was going for. I hope this helped everyone out there create a beautiful piece of art. Please comment if there's any questions you have. Also, feel free to post your own version of this scene on social media sites to show others what you did. I only ask that you put the link to this tutorial in your art's description so I can get credit for the basic design. Also, be aware that there is a more advanced version of this painting on my channel. So if there are those who are feeling confident and wish to challenge themselves a little bit more, the link will be in the description. I hope you'll come back and create another painting with me soon. See you next time!